Hit record. Happy days. You can hear me all right?
Yeah, man.
Beautiful. Righto.
Here we are.
Greeley.
Hey.
We start off a bit of an introduction for those that may not know of you. And feel free to pull me up if I'm wrong with any of this stuff.
No worries.
But you started rapping because you needed to teach them something, which turned out it was some gratitude because their attitude still needed adjusting. You've never had no patch, but you've been forever a rebel.
Yep.
You had a lot of fun with any cunt that wanted some, managed to do a national tour while on the run.
I did.
You're still the dopest cunt. The realest ones will know what's up.
Yep.
You did a stint, met some fellas, so you show some love. You're still a heavy savage, killing shit that we'd never manage.
Oh.
People treat you with respect and you treat them with the same.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who you are, but you don't see it as fame. And then most recently, you went back to TAFE.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't actually got back to TAFE yet.
But that's a bit of an intro for that's.
I appreciate that, man.
That's good. I had a bit of a giggle right now.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Good.
Yeah, I wrote that song when I was in Risdon, and I was definitely flexing my ego. I was like, I'm in a shit situation. I need to somehow turn this into a flex.
I think. I don't think I know,
Yeah.
but I sent you a message after or when you first released that album, because that was, and it was like the messages. I mean, I had good intentions, but it was like pretty cringe to think about it now. And I remember something that was along the lines of like, I was talking over, I was like, dude, this is actually sick. And I remember it saying stuff about how like, I felt like you'd finally found your well, it was the first stuff that you released that I suppose I really gelled with and I loved, and it was fucking sick, man.
Thank you, bro.
It was so good. Like, I think, like being alone, being in that situation, making the best out of, I suppose, a more unfortunate situation.
100%. Well, yeah, like when I knew that I was going to be in prison for a year, I was like, and I've had a lot of shame and a lot of guilt and public shame around why I went in there, and so I was just like, how can I flip this into a positive? And, writing an album in prison. Like one of my good friends sent me a bunch of Johnny Cash lyrics that, about him, that he'd written while he was in prison. And so, and it was, it was a mission to write the album too. Like there was no technology that we have now. I had to get a PS2 and I had to pick the beats over the phone. My mate Burbrain was playing them on the phone, and I was like, "Yep, that one. Yep, that one." And then he sent the beats to a company called Disbank in Perth and got them printed onto a proper CD because you can't bring burnt CDs into prison. And then sent from the printing company to Risdon with a receipt.
No shit.
And then Dundee got me the PS2 and got that brought in. So after a few months, I had a PS2 plugged into my TV with a beat CD and a good old exercise book from grade 7, like a good writing book. And I wrote the album, man. And it was good. Yeah. Go back to like the basics and
100%.
And I pretty much off that album I wrote a song probably about every month, and it was important for me, especially like I didn't really want to be like, look at me, I'm in jail. And because a lot of people thought that's what I was doing. They're like, Greeley goes to prison and then writes a rap. Now he thinks he's a sick cunt because he went to jail. And I was like,
what else are you going to do?
Exactly. I've been rapping for half my life. I've got to sit in here for a year.
Yeah.
And I'm also, like, I'm a massive sponge, man. Like, I absorb my surroundings,
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to write something in there that was for all the people around me and reflect the language and the communication and the lessons learned through it all. Of just watching it unfold and put it back out. So a lot of them could maybe hear about it from someone else's perspective and I could plant seeds of encouragement through it. And
For sure. So when you do like, suppose make a song, how, and my understanding of it, I mean, everyone's obviously different, but how do you get a beat first and then put words over the beat, or do you have some words in your head and then sort of get a bit of, like, what's the process?
It can happen in many different ways.
But what's your, like, have you got a fixed way, or it just or it can happen?
It can happen in different ways for me too. Like sometimes I'll be like, I need to write a song about this, like when all that stuff happened in Melbourne with the Nazis attacking the mob at Camp Sovereignty.
Yeah.
I just felt so much rage.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, it's time. I need to write something that reflects my rage. and also reflects my understanding of the issues in our country that leads to this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and then from that, I got the idea for the beat made out of a song, Aerials by System of a Down.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yep, I want to flip this. And I sent that to my mate Lockie Hamill, who didn't actually know the original song that well. And then he got that and turned it into the beat and then sent it back.
Yeah.
And then as well, like, yeah. And then I was also researching and learning and consistently, I really wanted to put my understanding of history in Australia into that song. So I'm doing that. Like that was, and you know, that's a big song with like 100 bars of just me trying to drop knowledge and mixed with my aggressive, like, I'm sick of this, you know? But then sometimes I will get a beat and for a month or two, I'll think I'm going to write a song about this to it.
Yep.
And then one day I'll just start writing and it ends up being something different.
You
know, so like the TAFE song, go back to TAFE. I was like, I want to write a song about, you know, because you just see so many young lost people that are just like caught up in drugs or caught up in, you know, I see so many like young women that I meet when they're like 16 at an all ages show. Yeah. And then like 4 years later, I can see they're in a toxic relationship. Yeah. You know, the baby daddy's in jail. They're doing OnlyFans and they live in Ulverston. You know what I mean? And it just breaks my heart to see a young person end up in a situation where you can see that that's what they're doing, you know. And I don't mean this in any judgment, you know what I mean? But I was like, I want to write a song that kind of, you know, is funny, laugh, flipped Why Don't You Get a Job by Offspring, which is a classic bop, you know, but also plant some seeds that hopefully some people can get something from and it can empower them.
100%. Yeah. But you saying about how you can't get burnt CDs in I was about to say TAFE, can't get burnt CDs in prison, that's I mean, they've obviously got a reason behind that, I suppose, but it blows me out. I did a bit of work, sort of not in the actual prison itself, but between the contraband fence or whatever it is and the other fence, and that was like the closest I'd ever been to prison. But the bloke who was like, you know, they put the dogs over you and search you and all this sort of stuff. Yeah. And the bloke was who was escorting us around. I was talking to the other fella that I was with, and I'm looking around. There's all those like pickleballs everywhere. Yeah. And I was just in my own way. I'm looking, what the fuck? So like these guys must be shit at pickleball, hitting these over the fence. And I'm standing there anyway, and I kicked one or something, and I said to him, I was like, dude, what's the go with these? And I went to kick another, and he's like, don't fucking touch them. And I was like, what? And he was reckoned that that was how they get like contraband and stuff in. Yeah. Stuff in there and just like fucking hoik them over the fence.
Yeah, that's what they try to do. And I think there's a lot of people try and get drones. I remember I told someone in there that I've used drones for video clips, and he's like, what you got to do is get a dead pigeon, stuff it full of drugs, and hook it up to the drone, fly that over and drop it in so, you know, we can just walk out, pick up the dead pigeon. Fucking, And I was just like, I'm all good, bro. And then, my mate who lives across the road from Risdon, he's got a dead drone collection. Because I think they've got an
EMP.
Yeah. So all the people that try and fly drones, this is boom.
Oh, he just goes and
he's got like 12 in the backyard. Yeah.
Was drugs like? I mean, again, like my knowledge goes as far as what I like hear hear people talk about and see in movies and stuff. Like drugs a big thing in there. Like, is it easily accessible?
Bupe's the most common thing in there, and I just got out just before Corona. So I think Corona made everything a lot harder. Yeah. I mean,
generally, is it easier to get as what it is on the outside?
Oh, I guess in some ways, because everyone's in one spot.
Yeah, true.
You know, like the Bupe is definitely an interesting thing because a certain amount of people in there are on the Bupe program, and I know they've changed it with injections now, but at the time when I was in there, they'd put it in orally, and then guys would try and like keep as much of it in their mouth and try and get back into the yard and spit it out and then dry it and then cut it into little bits and sell that around the yard, and people would smoke the dried Bupe spit off foil to get a little buzz, you know, and there was a whole economy built off that, you know, and I saw people getting fucked up over their spit debt. You know, they owed money for Bupe spit, And that's what I realised. Like, humans can make an economy out of anything.
Yeah,
you
man.
know, like when you've got nothing, you'll find something to value, develop a whole hierarchy, a whole system off it.
That's mental.
But I smoked weed twice when I was in prison.
Yep.
Both times, I'm pretty sure they came in someone's ass. And the first time, bro, my mate's just like, bro, I got some weed, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
and like went down, and I was in a cell with him and a guy that had just gotten like 20 plus years for murder, and I smoked this bit of weed through like a toilet roll.
Yeah.
You use like a battery and some foil to get a light with
Yeah.
some toilet paper, and I've smoked weed for most of from teenage into adulthood, and then gone a few months without it. So as soon as I smoked the weed, I just started dribbling shit, as you do, and just start when you're first stoned, before you're like, ugh. And I just started talking about God and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And then this fella that had just got 20 years, he looked at me and just went, yeah, I don't think God's too happy with me. And I was like, I should shut my mouth. And then, went to walk around the prison yard, and I was just like freaking out, bro. It was just like proper paranoia. And I'm like, oh, the guards are going to know I'm stoned. The guards are going to know I'm stoned. And then someone walked up to me and they're like, you're off your head, aren't you? And I was like, oh, no, it's obvious. And then, because I was working on the food trolley, and I had to deliver all the meals, which means at lockdown time, I have to go and walk past like 10 screws, and I look stoned. And so I ended up going back to my cell, wigging out, putting heaps of moisturiser on, thinking that would unstone me. And then, I went up, got the food trolley, gave it back. And luckily that night we had chicken Kievs and butterscotch pudding. It was like the best meal on the whole prison menu. So
Get the munchies.
yeah, it was a good time. But there's definitely, like, it comes down to, I don't know, there's people that get shit in either way, but it was when someone would get locked up and bring stuff in, and you could tell when someone brought some ice in, and all of a sudden a bunch of fellas just have, they've been picking at their face all night, and you can just see,
so people ask me, I get asked a lot, like what rehab was like. I mean, and every rehab's different. The one that I was at, we spent a lot of time, it was religious based. So during the day, we were like at this church. Then over night time, when I was there was 9 of us in like a pretty small house. Like, and I had a bedroom with 3 other blokes at one point, and a tiny, tiny bedroom, about the size of the room we're in now.
Yeah.
And the way, again, I haven't gone to prison, but the way that I relate it to a lot of people is that rehab was what I imagined prison would be like, but without the guards. So, like, we had a resident leader who was just a dude who had gone through the program and was like, so he was still sorting his shit out. He was really good, but he was, he's got his own stuff going on that he's trying to figure out and whatnot. And there was like my first day there, a bloke got kicked out because he pissed dirty, like from the weekend and stuff. And then we went to the house, and the guys showed me around, and like, all the sharps of stuff are in a lockbox and you can't go near them. And I was like, what the fuck? And realised, there's guys in there, like I was just a drinker, but I was the only drinker. Everyone else had been shooting stuff or smoke, you know what I mean? It was full tweak. And one of the guys had a blue light, and he's shining it like on this, I don't know why, but he's showing me around the place. And I was like, fuck, does it get intense in here? And he's like, yeah, look at this, and shines it on the wall, man. And it was like a fucking picture. Like, there was just blood all up this wall because these guys had like punched the living shit out of each other. Yeah. And like when you say that, how ice and stuff got in there, like the thought of that fucking freaks me out, because these dudes, although they were clean, everyone's coming down from psychosis and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And there was only twice, but one night in particular that I was like laying there and I was like with my eyes open, like fucking this, like it's, it would take so little for this place to fucking explode. And it like, and yeah, so that I couldn't imagine. Did you ever feel like, were you ever nervous to, like, can you lock your own cell? Like, how does it work?
Well, when you first get into Risdon from, I went to medium, and in medium you first get put in a triple up, which is like, it's like a bigger cell, but it's got 1 bed and a bunk in there. It's probably got 2 bunks in there now. Yeah. Because they're trying to fit more people in there. Yeah. The triple up, and this guy got put in my triple up, and he was, definitely, because so many people have been on, a bender for a couple years on the gear, and then they get thrown in there, and they're still pretty psychotic and just like unwinding and So that was like the most of, like once people had like come off it was all pretty chill.
Yeah.
But there was this one fella, and he was a little fella, and he was and a couple of the older guys kept kind of G'ing him up like, "You're a weird little cunt, aren't you?" "Yeah, I like you."
Yeah.
And they were encouraging him to be more weird, and he's coming off the gear.
Yeah.
And he started like, he was in my cell, and he started just like doing weird like demonic laughs.
Oh, fuck.
And I was just like, nah, bro. Like, and I guess, when you go in, you're like, well, I want to be respectful, but I'm not going to be walked over.
Yeah. Finding that line.
Yeah. And so, he started just doing weird shit.
Yeah.
And he'd gone in there for stabbing someone that worked in an IGA, I think, up north. And so, as soon as he started doing the weird shit, I was like, you're going to cut that the fuck out. You know what I mean? And then he did it again, and I just like threw him out of the cell and, threw his mattress. I was like, you can sleep out there, cunt. And he slept out in the main room,
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's interesting, man. I guess I was very blessed in a lot of ways to have a reputation that I do. I guess, the negative circumstances of me breaking someone's jaw and then going into prison.
Yeah.
It's got negative, but at the same time, people knew that I'm capable of breaking someone's jaw.
For sure.
So, I wasn't really tested too much.
Yeah.
And, I just give respect, and 99% of the time, people gave me respect, So, I was very blessed in that way, but I know that's not the same for a lot of people.
Yeah. It was weird, like when I was in, you went in there for like assault, obviously you weren't coming off gear or whatever. But when I was in rehab, like I got detox first, so went in there, no phone, no internet, no nothing, and they're on like 100 milligrams of Valium a day.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and it was so I did that for a week. That rehab picks me up, go in there, and I remember after a few days, like I was like questioning stuff. Like I'd never used ice or anything like that, so I didn't have psychosis, but my brain was wired like in a pretty messed up way. And
especially from alcohol. Alcohol is such
a
detrimental substance in its own unique way.
Yeah. And I remember like questioning, like having like little mini breakdowns. Same thing. I was like, don't want anyone to see me, showing weakness stuff. So I'd go to my bed and like lay down. Sometimes I'd be napping. Other times I'd be laying there on the verge of like crying, just being like, fucking like is the whole world like just full, or like borderline the closest I've been to psychosis. Just like, what the fuck? And one of the other guys who was in there, he'd been on the gear, and I remember sort of when I started to get my head around some stuff, I was out in the smoking, and he was like pacing, man. He used to walk a lot. He was walking back and forth, and he said to me, and like I was like, "You all right, bruv?" And he was just like, "Dude, like fucking something's wrong with my head." Like, rah, rah. And I said to him, I was like, just like acknowledge that thought and just fucking exist, man. Like don't try and solve the world's problems right now. Like I was like, it happened to me like a week ago, and like, but you don't have to suss it out now, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine, like as I said, I was there with like 9 other people, and maybe say half of them were sort of in the early stages of coming off their various vices. I can only imagine what it'd be like with fucking however many hundred or how many people in jail,
It was a few hundred in the medium yard when I first went in. I think like there's an element of I preferred medium compared to minimum, because minimum is there's more privileges and less violence.
Yep.
And
why is there less violence, do you think? Or is that I suppose people in minimum are stuff for just like mistakes. I suppose like more
there's a lot of people in minimum that have been in the system for a while and then work their way up there. But because it's so much more privilege based, like you get more privileges in minimum.
Yeah, true.
All sorts of things like that. And there wasn't really many places to punch on as per se. Like in medium, there was like a stronger culture of if you're annoying people, you're going to get fucking bashed.
Yeah.
So that really kind of brought order.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah,
in my time in minimum, that people were a lot more mouthy, a lot more like antagonizing, all sorts of that. Whereas medium, I guess there were more sort of staunch fellas, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I suppose I imagine that those guys would be the ones that more accept that this is life sort of thing. It's more of a not so this is just a phase sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And because there was, I guess, more, like there was more, how do I say it, like access to violence. It brought order to the place.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
that was very interesting because I'd rather be around the staunch cunts that aren't going to let anyone be a fucking dickhead.
Yeah.
Like if someone went into a unit with guys that are very established in prison and they were grub and they're, being unhygienic, they were sorted out pretty quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
Or the fear of knowing that they would get fucked up would sort them out pretty quickly. They'd just fall into place.
Yeah.
But then up at minimum, it was way more like, that was my most uncomfortable part of jail because you could just see people being fucking dickheads. And I'm just like, I don't want to be around this where, around people that were more dangerous, there was a lot more order and respect. Yeah.
And didn't you, because I think I remember seeing it in the news, because you, what happened, you went in there a bit and then come out and then went, and then they fucking, put more on it.
Yeah. So,
how rough's that?
Yeah, it was interesting. It was a blessing in hindsight, but because I've done so much stuff in the community in a positive way, like when I went to court, I had all my friends that are like hip hop heads that also work in youth work across the country. Yeah. And, I've done different elements of youth work in Victoria, Western Australia, Northern Territory. And so all of them wrote, really big character references for me. And so, I only got sentenced to 2 months in prison, 10 wholly suspended the first time. And then I was in there for a month and then they called me up and I went up there and they're like, the screw said to me, like, why are you appealing? You only got 2 months. And I'm like, what's appealing? Like, I just didn't really know what he meant. And then he goes, oh, no, they're appealing you. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, they're appealing your sentence. And I was like, okay. And then, so I served the rest of those 2 months. And I was like, oh, I'm out, yeah. And then they're like, court's on Monday.
Fuck.
And so I managed to do a gig in that week that I was out. I did a gig. I recorded Square One and my song Square One, went and filmed a video clip and then went back to court on Monday and I'm sitting in the dock in the Supreme Court and you can't hear shit. It's a very echoey room and there was 3 new judges and because no one had ever got only 2 months for a grievous bodily harm charge in Tasmania. So they were just like, nah, 12 months prison, 12 wholly suspended. Yeah.
Oh, so you did 12 months that second time?
Yeah. Oh, no, well, like 2 included.
Oh, yeah.
So I went back for 10. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. So, but, I wouldn't have written the album if I only did the 2 months. In that first 2 months, I wrote Square One. Yeah. I wrote another track. I can't even remember what it's called now. And I did a track to the Vossi Bop beat by Stormzy. But and because I didn't have any beats at that point either, I just wrote them without any beats. And then when I did Square One, I literally just went research boom bap beat, and it was the first one that popped up. I was like, that'll do. Recorded it, went and did the video, and it was back in. But it was in hindsight, bro, it was all a blessing. Yeah, the experience in there, everything I learned. It was like a psychology course. It definitely helped me reconnect with God in that faith. Being away from the world and I couldn't control nothing. That's when I really started praying, you know what I mean? And just like, and then going to prison church and watching the pastor in prison church, because there was many times I was trying to help younger fellas and they'd end up, it'd always backfire on me. Because I'm like, man, don't you want to live a different life? And they're like, you're a fucking goose.
Yeah, what?
Well, just because they're...
Just to give that image sort of thing.
Yeah, they're stuck in their own mistaken identity, you know, they're showing me pictures of their kids and they're like, oh, check out my kids. And I was like, don't you want to be around your kids? Because they're just talking about, we're going to do more armed robs, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I was like, but your kids. You show me pictures of your kids, your kids love you. And they're like, no. It's like, I guess, and this is where I learned that people want to climb a hierarchy. People want to climb a ladder. And when they grow up in an environment where they think there's no other way to excel, it's like, the easiest thing to do is crime. And then they see the old heads that have that reputation and everyone's scared of them and they're like, I want that fear, because they see that fear as power. I
suppose in a weird way, violence and crime is probably one of the quickest ways to climb any sort of hierarchy ladder sort of thing.
It is, man.
Most things in life you have to, you work hard and you do this and that, and you like in there's sort of disciplines in it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
If you can fucking scrap, like if you can belt cunts, and
and if you don't give a fuck,
like then you could pretty quickly shoot to the top of your game. Sort of thing.
I had a really good chat with a fella called Jai Rainbird, and Jai Rainbird came from a lot of generational crime.
Yeah.
His dad was a guy called Roy Rainbird, and I spent a lot of time with Jai, and just breaking down through stuff, talking about God, talking about crime, and Jai. I'm pretty sure it was Jai. His family has been incarcerated every single generation in Tasmania since Port Arthur.
Yeah.
And I think ABC wanted to talk to him at one point about it because he is, a product of the convict transportation era and just stuck in that cycle. And Jai even said to me once, because I wrote a song called The Cycle, and the second verse is about Jai.
Yeah. Okay.
And he said, he's like, well, I grew up in this shit. Yeah. And then when Underbelly came out, I was like, well, that's my best chance at leaving a legacy, is that they'll make a TV show about me one day. So I better fucking go hard.
I don't know many people. Like I was still in school when that came out. I remember watching that and I was like, fucking these cunts are sick. Like this is wicked, sort of thing.
100%.
It's definitely, it is good watching, but if you're young and impressionable, it's definitely got 100%. A lot to answer for sure.
I ended up meeting Roberta Williams through
no shit.
She came to a lot of the KERSER shows. And and her husband Rob, I got along with him really well. I've seen him a couple times around in Melbourne, and they're always very kind and respectful to me. And but it's definitely an interesting thing when we can get notoriety for negativity. Yeah. And I think sometimes it can get us caught up in thinking, well, this is because you're getting dopamine. Yeah. You're getting attention. You know what I mean? And it's like, and definitely for me as a young kid, I grew up in a broken family. My dad wasn't around for a lot of my early childhood. My mum was a single mum with 3 kids, and I had twin sisters, so she couldn't give me enough attention that I needed. Yeah. And I had to help out with the little sisters. And so a part of my hard wiring became, well, I can do negative stuff. Yeah, yeah. And I didn't realise it at the time. Yeah. But really, I was attention seeking. Yeah. But then I found hip hop, and I was like, well, I can get attention through doing this. I remember watching Rage and people talking about Eminem and all this sort of stuff, and I'm like, well, he's good at this. I like that. Yeah. And people give him attention for it. Yeah. So I'm going to do that. Yeah. But then it was still kind of encapsulated with negative things too. And not that, it's very interesting because a lot of my I guess, criminal behavior, and I definitely got caught up in selling drugs and, I never wanted to be a drug dealer, but once again, I wasn't disciplined enough to really build a healthy life. Yeah. I went from kind of being on the street to just renting rooms, and then got really good at rapping and obsessed with that because that was my way of climbing. Yeah, yeah. And if I could make money enough to survive, I've never really been too financially orientated. Yeah.
It's a good problem to have, man.
Yeah, yeah. I think I learned at a young age that money doesn't make you happy. Yeah. So it wasn't really, and then I found a community in hip hop, which I kind of got that feeling of the family from. Yeah. So I was just like, I want to do hip hop and empower people with hip hop because that'll help my family grow. For sure.
It's weird. We were talking about it before we hit record. But how with hip hop, in a way, a lot of it is based, it is all shifting, but a lot of it is based around negativity. When you're battling people, you're there pointing out or concocting, these fucking bad things in these other people, You're bad, I'm good. But it is a way of, it's just, it's the way to get known. It's how it's done,
Yeah, 100%. It's very interesting, bro. Because, hip hop was really birthed as a positive thing. Yeah. You know, and there is so many positive elements to hip hop culture.
100%.
And but then I guess it really became about the ego. Even if you listen to Run DMC, they were like, "Go to university." You know, it was and then gangster rap came out,
Yeah.
and then I think it's the industry knew that this negative ego was way more profitable.
100%.
And yeah, the guys that put NWA on the radio
Yep.
were the same people that were investors in private prisons.
Yep.
So they were making money off the negative music
Yep.
and the behaviour that was antisocial that came by the people that were traumatized.
Yeah.
Trauma bonded with this negative music, and then that influence encouraged them to do more. It's very interesting, man. And then we still see kids walking around in Hobart from Bridgewater wearing Compton hats, and it's just like
Yeah.
they'll never go to Compton.
No.
They've there's
Yeah.
but it's the trauma. It's
Yeah.
the trauma bonding. You
Yeah.
know? The more I understand, Charleston White is a very interesting fella that breaks down the trauma in black society in America that hip hop then, took and projected to the world. And that's like in Risdon, there were so many guys that were racist that just didn't like black people, but they loved Tupac. And that was an interesting thing to break down.
Yeah.
But it's like they grew up in a criminal lifestyle.
Yeah.
Generational criminals through the convicts.
Yeah.
With no music to really bond with,
Yeah.
because there wasn't really much music coming out of Australia about prison, crime, or jail.
Yeah.
Paul Kelly had his, gravy song, but other than that, there was nothing. So
Yeah.
they, even though they were like racist from their environment, they just trauma bonded with Tupac, and they're like, "No, he's all right."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I must admit, I do find some catchy, like the 046.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah,
Dude, they rapping about some of the most negative stuff ever, but fuck it, just that catchy, man.
They're a vibe, and they're good fellas.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And that's the thing, we're down so many levels of influence.
yeah,
That it's interesting. I did a song with a guy recently, and he's a real lovely fella. He's a good fella, and he had bars about moving and doing this and all this sort of stuff. And someone hit me up, and they were like, "Greeley, why'd you do a song with this dog? He's rapping about this shit."
yeah,
And I was just like, "Well, brother, he's a good person.
yeah,
I can't tell him what to rap about.
yeah,
I like his sound and delivery,
Yeah.
and it kind of matched mine as well. We made a very kind of like, that sort of song. But he's a lot younger, and I like at the end of the day, people are so indoctrinated in this influence now.
yeah,
Until they learn the hard lessons,
Yeah.
I was the same. It's like I remember thinking because Snoop Dogg smoked weed every day.
Yeah.
And I remember in grade 9, and I had access to weed all the time. I was like, I'm gonna get up.
That's what I got to do.
Yeah, 7 a.m.
That's what Snoop
before
says.
school. Yeah, in the laundry, chopping up, smoking bongs.
Yeah.
Like, how much more can I do this?
Yeah,
And now I'm 36 and 4 months sober off weed by choice. I was,
nice.
didn't smoke weed when I was in jail, and I'm like, holy fuck, I wasted 22 of my years of my life just stoned. And I convinced myself the whole time I need to do this.
yeah,
I whatever ADHD, whatever you want to call it, this
Yeah.
helps me chill out. But really, I was just suppressing
yeah.
all that childhood trauma the
Yeah.
whole time.
I was the same with piss, like with alcohol.
Yeah.
And then when I started making videos and stuff, like, I don't know, 9 years ago, or whatever it was, and I'd built this persona around, and a lot of it was all alcohol fueled and stuff,
Yeah.
and then you get fame, you make money off it, people know, that sort of stuff. Oh, fuck, well, I'll keep doing
this
that.
works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'll keep drinking piss so I can, keep fueling that fire, and it's just a big vicious cycle sort
It
of
is,
thing.
man. And then the fan base relate with you because you're enabling them
Yeah.
to do the same.
Yeah, which is interesting. Like I talked about it on the last one with Mecca, but I lost like when I came out of rehab, and then I wasn't doing anything on social media. I slowly started putting bits and pieces on Snapchat, and I lost like 17,000 followers in like 3 weeks or something.
Oh,
or a
he's
month.
fucking sober.
Yeah, literally, dude.
Yeah, literally, bro.
Yeah. But
there's a rapper called Chillin' It, and
I think I've heard. Yeah,
and he really kind of built his hype off like big benders, let's get loose, all that sort of stuff. And I heard that he did a show in Adelaide, and he came out and he was like, "Yeah, I'm 2 weeks off the coke," and the whole crowd booed him.
Yeah,
It's like boo,
Yeah.
and it's like,
fuck you for bettering yourself.
yeah,
Like-
exactly, because. Once again, they're not actually fans of you. They're fans of the enablement of their behaviour.
If you're doing that, that's what I want to do. Like, if you're doing it, that must be okay. I can do it too.
100%, man. Yeah, and that's, I think, as you grow, you realise that, we're all reflections, and people only like about you. They
Yeah.
only really like about you what reflects themselves.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you see other people doing stuff, you assume it's okay, don't you? Like,
Exactly.
and the same thing like we were just talking about in prison. You see, oh, I want authority, I want respect. You see these other people, your peers doing it. I can do that too. That makes it okay.
100%, man.
It's So getting back to music, do you remember the first rhyme, the first words that you slung together? Do you remember do you remember when the penny dropped? You're like, fucking, I did that. Sort of thing?
Oh well, the first time I really did it was when I was in high school in Texas.
Oh, so when did you come move back over here?
So I moved over. I was born in Connecticut.
Fuck, dude, I didn't realize that at all.
Yeah. So my dad, he was born in Boston.
Yep.
He grew up mainly in upstate New York. My mum was born and grew up in Smithton in Tasmania.
Yep.
And
it's like the fucking
two opposite ends of the world, man.
Completely.
Yeah. And then my mum ended up joining a church, and she became a part of a program called YWAM. It was like Youth with the Mission.
That's still around now. Yeah.
So she was in YWAM in the 80s.
Yep.
She did some missionary work in Papua New Guinea, and then she ended up in America because a priest in America had come to Tassie and become friends with the priest of the church in Kingston.
Yep.
In Tassie. And they kind of set up an exchange thing. My mum went to America and then went to a Christmas party with the woman she was staying with.
Yep.
That woman is now my great auntie. She's passed. But she went to this Christmas party, met this lady's nephew, my dad. They got together. They married pretty quickly. I was born in America, and then they came back to Tasmania.
Yeah. And how old were you when?
I was only a few months when I first came.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. And then me and my dad went back to America for a bit when I was 2, and then came back, and then they ended up separating.
Yep.
And my dad went back to America. And so, I grew up, without my dad, with my mum and my sisters.
Yeah.
Not much male guidance.
Yeah.
Mum could barely keep up with all of us three.
Yeah.
And, it was the 90s, so come back when the street lights are on, you know what I mean?
The glory days.
Yeah, and I ended up just staying at friends' houses all the time, ones that had dads.
Yeah.
Weren't good role models. A lot of, exposed to, in hindsight, a lot of toxic, negative stuff, drugs, alcohol, porn, all sorts of shit, know? And then, just as I got older, ended up getting caught up in more negative stuff. Grade 5, I got internally suspended for sneaking Red Bears into the disco. The vodka mixes, and and I just started getting more trouble.
Hey, what? When did that happen? What
I was
age?
in grade 5.
Oh shit!
So I was 10.
Yeah.
And then my mum sent me to a school in Kingston called Calvin, which was a Christian school.
Yep.
And that was pretty much run by the Dutch community of Kingston.
Yep.
And a lot of people involved in that school were a part of the same church when my parents separated.
Yep.
So there was a lot of teachers that remembered my dad being this American fella that stood out like a sore thumb back in the early 90s in Tassie.
Yep.
And they had, a negative perspective on him.
Yep.
So when I went into that environment, there was teachers that were like, I know who you are.
Yeah.
And so I just felt judged.
Yeah.
I didn't feel included. And I was also carrying my sort of pain, and I just reflected that on the school.
Yeah.
I remember me and my mate, we made a bet of who can get expelled first, and I was getting bullied a lot.
Yeah.
And was probably in turn bullying as well,
Yeah.
And so it took me a little while. I got suspended a few times and then got asked to leave because they wouldn't expel you. And that was when my mum was like, I've had enough.
Yeah.
Called my dad up. She said, your turn.
Yep.
Put me on a plane to LA.
Yeah.
So I flew to LA by myself from Hobart. And Dad picked me up in LA, and he was a truck driver.
Yep.
He was a car hauler.
Yeah.
And at the time, he was married to a woman that was from Texas.
Yeah.
And so, I spent a bit of time on the road with my dad, driving from LA to New York through Texas, delivering cars. And then eventually he was like, do you want to stay here and live here? And I was like, yes. And so, it was a bit of a mission, man, because I'd flown over an Australian passport, even though I was a US citizen, which I technically wasn't allowed. So I had to fly back and then get an American passport, come back.
Yeah.
And then I started high school in grade 9, and I was already into hip hop. I was beatboxing from a young age, listening to rap music, but I didn't quite have the confidence to rap.
Yeah.
And then when I was at school in Texas, I used beatboxing as a tool to kind of make friends.
Yep.
Because
I mean, that's an art in itself, man. Like,
yeah, it is. Yeah. I'd listen to a guy called Razel.
Yeah.
Razel was a big influence.
Yeah.
Shout out to my mate Higgy. He went to Newtown High. He really got me into it. And I met him in the mall, in the early mall days.
Yeah.
And and then so I remember at school in Texas, a bunch of guys were like, "Yo, Australia, when you going to do rap?" And so I went home and I wrote a bunch of rhymes and I stole a couple lines from 50 Cent because it wasn't long after Get Rich or Die Trying had dropped. So I went to school and I did my little rap, and as soon as I said the 50 Cent lines, they all just were like, Australia.
Yeah.
Like, you can't bite 50 Cent here and we're not going to notice, and they called me out on it. And I was a bit embarrassed after that. But then, and then everything fell apart in America. My stepmom ended up, just pretty much breaking up with my dad and kicking us both out.
Yep.
Back to living in the truck. Yep. So not long after that, I came back to Tassie.
Yep.
Ended up on the street again in Tassie, and then found some local rappers that gave me a room to rent.
Yep.
And they were a bit older. And I remember saying to one of those guys, I was like, I'll never be rappers like you guys, And it was still a confidence thing. And then being in that environment, I met a bunch of other young people that could freestyle. My mate Rich O.D. from Kingston, he could freestyle his ass off.
Yeah.
And I started beatboxing for him when he was freestyling. And we're just drinking goon and, being kids in the park. And slowly the confidence built up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I remember I recorded a rap, would have been first month of grade 11 at Hobart College.
Yeah.
They let us. Phil Grinham was a music teacher, and
so you do it in like a studio type of
thing?
Yeah.
Nice. And we had a little gang of fellas that all did it.
Yeah.
And the music teacher didn't care if we drunk at lunchtime.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like, "No, he's going to drink. You're going to
Yeah.
smoke weed in the bush. You can do it. Just get something done in music class."
Yep. Yeah.
So we would like put goon in our drink bottles.
Yeah.
And drink in the music studio in Hobart College and record freestyles and make hip-hop songs.
Yeah, for sure.
And we called ourselves paralytic poets, and we thought we were the shit.
It's how you're saying, like, how you're writing raps, but it's like, you're self-conscious. It's like one of the ultimate things. I mean, like, music is art, and it's your expression. It's yours. This is something I've created. This is what I think is good. Do you guys think it's good? Like, that's a big fucking thing. I wrote
especially in Tassie.
Oh man. Well, I mean anywhere. But Tassie, being
Tassie is
small,
a very
close-knit.
and tall poppy syndrome.
Oh yeah.
And the current climate was like, oh, do you think you're black? Do you?
Man, that's still then like beachy. I don't mind beachy flows like quick as shit. Yeah. And I've like watched some of his stuff, but all you look at his comments stuff, not that he's done much recently, but all the comments are just like, why do you you think you're black, you think you're American, right? Because he sounds like Eminem, but
I remember Beachy, yeah.
But he hasn't done much for a while.
Is he from Perth?
I think, I'm not actually sure.
Yeah.
But like skinny white dude,
I think
massive
he's from
red
Perth.
hair.
Yeah. I remember him, man. Yeah, it's cultural cringe. We have and this is Australia's been. We have our history, but then media was just so American.
Yeah.
And I used to get triggered by fellas rapping in American accents.
Yeah.
Because it was a reflection of my childhood trauma with my dad being American.
Yeah.
So it's not, and as well back then it was like the old Aussie hip hop scene were like, if you have an American accent, you're a weak dog. It was just like, that was it. And it's funny, a little while ago I was with some younger guys because fellas in Australia look up to English hip hop way more than they do American now. Yeah. Where in my generation it was all America.
Yeah.
Where now UK are kind of like leading that way.
Yeah.
And so many young lads in Australia are rapping with a bit of a UK accent. And I was having a drink about a year ago. I was drinking and I was a bit drunk, and this young fella showed me this rap, and I like full snapped back to when I was a kid, and I was like, what's with your fucking accent?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, and then I was like, oh shit, I'm doing the learnt behaviour of what the old guys did to me, you know, and
It's I get like, I don't know if you watch much of my stuff, but I still do now, but like I'm a big one. Like I'm always singing lip syncing in the shower. Do it all the time. Like a lot of my early videos were. And I get so many people. I don't know whether they don't realize like what's actually going on, or whether they don't see the difference in the two. But I get a lot of people going, "You should rap. You should rap." And I'm like, all I'm doing is I have a half decent memory. Like I can remember songs from, I listen to a song like 2 or 3 times. I know it word for word.
Yeah.
And then I lip sync. I get all these people going, "Oh, you should rap." I'm like, no, I can't put it together myself. Like I can just mimic what other people do.
For sure.
But I had a book that I did like years ago. Oh, probably 15 years ago.
Yeah.
That I started penciling some stuff down. I've lost it now, but that wasn't too bad. And actually, I remember. So Jake, the Dirt Turtles.
Yeah.
So,
Jack Virgil.
Yeah. So
shout outs Brendan Moon.
Yeah, bloody oath. So they did. He shared like in the early days when I was making videos. I think. Oh no, I saw him at Redbank at Flankfest, which you were at. I was fucking ended up blind that year, but you were at as well.
Oh, Flankfest.
Yeah,
everyone was pretty blind at Flankfest. Shout outs Hank. Flinner.
Yeah. But the and I met and the Dirt Turtles went up there, and I was like, "Fuck, these guys are sick." And Jake came up to me, and he's like, "Dude, I've watched your videos. They're fucking hilarious." So I started listening to more, and then that song "Support," man. I had a breakup just after that, and I was like smoking heaps of pot, and I was like drinking like fucking heaps, like just in the bath every day. And I literally just listened to that song on repeat, like just the music and stuff. It was fucking nuts. And then when I started filming stuff for YouTube, Jake wrote, he made a song called LORD, and so that's actually that was the intro to my YouTube stuff.
There you go.
It was a blow up. But then like the song Support, like I'd play it all the time, and it got massive traction. And then they had a show at the C Bar.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jake was like, "Oh, do you want to come up and sing Support?" And I was like, "Fuck, I don't know, man." And I did, and I got a video of it somewhere or something. But that was like one of the most nerve-wracking. I mean, that's not my music. Someone else has written it. But that was still like, fuck. That's like, it's putting yourself out there type of thing. And that 100%. Wasn't even my creation. That was someone else's creation.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing that, man.
That's all right.
Yeah, they're good kids. I remember when they came along, like, because it was I was into my journey with Tassie hip hop quite a bit, and I remember their wave when they came along. There was quite a few other young fellas that come up with them at the same time. Nibs, Disprays, and they had it was a full vibe going. I've had Brendan Moon sing on a couple of my songs.
Yep.
I did a song called Let You Go, and he sung the chorus. Brendan's so talented.
Oh, shit, yeah, man.
Yeah, the way he harmonises and the beats that he makes. He's really got something special, that fella.
I was devastated when they were like, "Yeah, we're not doing it anymore." I was like, why?
I think Jake still makes music.
Yeah, not like they used to.
No.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, life gets in the way,
It does, and like, I think it's very interesting because like. Well, the Triple J era of like, do you make it onto Triple J? That defines your success, And they definitely had a sound that was kind of like good for that world, It
was triple J-able for sure.
Yeah, but there was like, I really don't like the what do I call it? Just the industry waiting line of people like seeing that as the thing they wait for. Yeah, I'm just really grateful that when I started making music, Triple J would definitely have not have played it. And the most Triple J played my music when I was in jail because their goalposts changed. When I started rapping, it was like you had to have this sound. And now Triple J will play more, like they didn't play KERSER because KERSER had a sort of rough background. Yeah. But now they're playing fellas that have been to jail. And, I did a track with an artist, Denny, called Runaways.
Yeah, dude, that slapped, man.
Oh, man,
that was cool.
Yeah, it was a good track. Shout outs to her. And that track, I remember when it dropped, I sent it to Howe, who did the hip hop show.
Yeah.
And that was like, no swearing, melodies, harmonies, and Howe was like, oh yeah, I'll see how I go. Yeah. And then that week he played 2 songs by guys that weren't even rappers. Yeah. They were just gangsters that got into a war. Yeah. They shot at each other and then wrote a song about their beef. Yeah. And the Triple J Hip Hop Show played those 2 songs. Yeah. Yeah. And these guys are literally shooting at each other. And I was like, oh, Yeah. So like, I finally make commercial radio quality music, and we're not allowed on.
Yeah.
But these two guys that are not musicians, they're
Yeah.
just criminals shooting at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout outs Triple J.
I don't know how
bless.
much. I don't know how much control they have over that sort of stuff. Like like they're obviously one of the less commercial ones, but like 7HO FM down here.
Yeah.
They did a thing. Oh, this is going back a fair few years ago now. But they did this thing where like they'd put like the top 5 songs of, and then a certain topic like every day.
Yeah.
So the night before, and put up the topic. They'd be like, okay, tomorrow's topic is, it'd be like songs about Antarctica or something. What's your top 5 songs? People would comment on it. Whichever one's got the most likes, they'd play them in order, like the top 5 songs. Anyway, I was in the bath one night on the piss, and it was, I think that's what it was. The first one was like it was something about Antarctica, and I was like, fucking Enter Sandman by Metallica. Like, there's no way they're going to play this. So I put it all over my socials, and I comment on Enter Sandman by Metallica, and it got like hundreds and hundreds of likes. The next closest one was like 5 or 6 likes or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, nothing happened. And I was like, fuck. And they didn't even acknowledge it. And so I was just like, fucking, I'm into you cunts.
Yeah.
So then the next day, it was something about, I think it was something to do with politics or something like that. Enter Sandman by Metallica. And then same thing. And I'm putting it, and like everyone's getting jazzed up. It's getting all these likes and stuff. Still nothing. And then it was the third day. It might have been around when the Olympics run, songs about the Olympics, Enter Sandman by Metallica. Same thing, didn't even acknowledge it. So I was like, right, I had Westy make me like biscuits that said, play Metallica Enter Sandman. I got my mate, who's a sign writer, to make me a big sign that said, play Metallica Enter Sandman.
Yeah.
People were sending them like flowers. Someone sent them like Metallica's greatest hits and shit.
Wow.
And I was standing out the front of their studio, Main Road, Loyal, waving this big fucking sign like, play Metallica Enter Sandman.
Yeah.
And
That's
and
cool.
listening to the radio at the time, and they were like, and then long story short, they ended up playing it. They invited me up to the studio, and I got to announce it and all this stuff. It was cool as. But the guy, one of the DJs there, he was just like, dude, he's like, we all knew about it. I've wanted to play it for so long. He's like, but I couldn't. Like he couldn't. And he said to his producer, he was like, I don't know if you've seen what's going on, but like there's like a lynch mob nearly. Like
yeah. That's classic. That reminds me heaps of Lewis Spears. He came up doing a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just like that online troll behavior.
Yeah.
And then that's what people love, trolling.
100%.
And they get behind it. But yeah, I mean it's interesting with all the radio in that way, and I'm really grateful that we're in an era that we can create and we can give it direct to our customers.
Yeah.
Even my first album was through a record label and went to JB Hi-Fi, and it was like, oh, my CDs are in stores, but then they only sent 2 copies to the store in Hobart on release day. 20 people rocked up to get my album, so 18 people were just disappointed. I'm like, oh. And then, and
you lose control of it, don't you?
Exactly. Whereas other albums just do it directly. You upload the video clip directly. They can listen to it directly. You can post them the CD to their front door 2 days before release. And I feel that as an artist, that direct connection to your fan base or your audience is such a more beneficial thing. I remember I was talking to one guy that and he runs Party in the Paddock. He's quite up there, and he was talking about let's put up a status telling people to go listen to our song on Triple J and promote the post. And it's like, so you're going to spend money to tell people online to go listen to the radio. Why wouldn't you just promote the link to your stuff that you're going to get direct revenue from?
For sure.
And do that, but it's the radio, and... it's interesting,
It's how you were saying, you can give your stuff direct to your customers and all that. It is good. You can instantly reach a lot more people, which I think, it's great in that way that you can instantly reach these people and you don't have to necessarily be a big name, you don't have to make it so a lot of people think to be able to reach all these people. But then at the same time, because there's so much of that, a lot of good stuff gets missed because the market's just flooded, with that happens to me a lot. I'll find some. I remember when Machine Gun Kelly, a mate, over a decade ago, a mate sent me breaking news. It was one of it, and I was like, "This is off the show. Like, this is so good." And then his version of Sale, which is fucking phenomenal. And like listening to his stuff, I was like, this is unbelievable. And then nothing. All of a sudden he fucking blew up and now he's everywhere sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that's because we live in that era of, it's just, yeah, it's everywhere. There's just, it's consumption, you know, there's so much stuff. Like you miss out on a lot of stuff for sure.
Oh yeah, it's hard, man. So I was really grateful, I guess, for the years that I wasn't isolated as a person.
Yeah.
Like due to the circumstances of being on the streets a lot and all that.
Yeah.
But it kind of really helped me find ways to like make music that would culturally connect with people. Like the first video clips that I made being like Salamanca Wankers.
Yeah.
And then Captain
Oh,
Glenorchy.
dude.
Yeah.
I used to love Captain. Is that... Was that was an actual someone behind that account? Do you ever find out like who it was or anything?
I did, yeah,
Oh, no
I did,
shit.
and I tried to like reach out to him, but I don't think he wanted that smoke. No, it actually started because I wanted to write a theme song for him.
Yep.
Because I love the cartoons and the narrative.
So this was this bloke who was it was like these. It was Glenorchy, which was going through like a bit of shit at the time, bit of like youth trouble and all this stuff. And then there was this mythical, it was like Superman, Captain Glenorchy that was there. And anyway.
and they'd have like Captain Glenorchy versus the Clarendon Valiant versus the South Hobart Tree Huggers.
Yeah.
And it was all just like clever comics based on Southern Tasmanian stereotypes.
Yeah, and the stuff that was going on at that time.
Yeah,
sort of thing. I fucking forgot all about that.
And
man.
I hit him up asking if I could write a theme song for him because I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
And he wrote back, the captain doesn't need your help. And my young ego went, oh. And then like he did get carried away with it. It went from like clever social commentary to just like he was just being pretty mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just came to be like just dehumanizing people.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the big thing, man, like with a lot of stuff. Some of the video, I remember recording a couple of videos of people that were like off their fucking, like so generally I'd film stuff like my day sort of thing and the stuff that happened during that day. And I remember a couple of times like there was people who were like fucking out of their brain and like filming it and just be like, fuck, they're off there. And I still think about that now. I'm just like that, like I'm so glad that I didn't continue down that path. And that's the thing now, like a lot of people film content. A lot of content that does really good is or can be potentially damaging to like people pretty significantly, you know. People, it's like a guilty pleasure. I think people like to see other people in hurt and discomfort and all that sort of stuff, and people just lap it up. And as you said, like it's hard in that in that sort of cycle. I know that Willem Powerfish, he's huge now. And his stuff, you know, like stirring people up and all that sort of shit, it is like, admittedly, as much as I wish it wasn't, it's fucking good to watch and people enjoy it. But then, I mean, you're harming that person's like mental health. And a lot of people I've seen in his comments and stuff have been like, well, you know, you claim to be an advocate for mental health. What about that person? And it's like, well, fuck, you know, like it's...
Very much so, man. And I've seen a lot of people over the years just completely lose themselves in this sort of shit, you know. And like even that Julian Woods fellow who got caught with Bonnie Blue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he's a young hip hop head from Brisbane.
Was he?
Yeah, you could actually, there's a video of him when he's like 17 rapping on the THC TV channel.
No shit.
And you know, he's become a comedian and he's found a lot of success and like, but I've just watched him consistently keep going down the path of like, well, negative stuff gets engagement, you know. And 100%. Then he was doing skits on Facebook where he's pretending to be a pedophile, cracking onto like little girls in public. And
imagine the damage that's like. Fuck it.
Yeah. And then like, you know, and I know he'd probably be like, Greeley's a fuckhead for saying what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I remember him when he was 17.
Yeah.
And now it's been like 10 years.
Yeah.
And now he's in Thailand getting arrested with Bonnie Blue. And
was he in that?
Yeah, he was the one that set it up. When you look up that Bonnie Blue stuff,
yeah.
He was the one that got done with her. And, you know, and God bless him, he's probably like, I got fucking, you know what I mean? Like, he got a tattoo saying followers over family, you know? And at the end of the day, that's up for him to decide. I'm not like...
Yeah.
Everyone has their own journey with this shit. But...
Yeah.
And he's a lot younger than me, but they've grown up with social media that whole time, where you know your actual choices as a human ends up becoming based on how much attention is this going to get and how damaging will it be in your personal life. You don't realize shit in your early 20s. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you're 40 and everything comes to catch up with you.
That's the biggest thing that I've realised after getting sober is just life. That everything is the long game.
It is, yeah.
It's fucking mental, man. And I was just so oblivious to all of that.
Oh, 100%. You don't realise. You're like, fuck it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the more you lack accountability, the more that everything comes back to bite you in the ass.
I mean, it all comes around eventually, doesn't it?
It does. It all comes out in the wash, man.
Do you remember when you first rocked up here before and we were talking about when we first met? I'm pretty sure the first time that we actually met, I remember there was a party in Glenorchy and I was there. I would have been like 15, 16, I think.
How old are you now?
37.
Yeah, so you're a year older than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was a party on and I'd rocked up with, and it was in Glenorchy, so like out of the area that we hanged around with. I went there with a heap of mates. And I ended up walking up the top of the driveway and I was talking to some girls and all my mates were still down in the party.
Wow.
And the next minute they come fucking like belting up the driveway and run past me and I was like, what the fuck? And this bloke comes up like who just had a touch up and he had his shirt off and he's like walking towards me and I was like, what the fuck's going on here? He's like, you came with like Brooksy and all them and I was like,
wow,
yeah.
Bro, you're blowing me the fuck out.
Do you remember this story?
Was it Anthony Gerard's house?
I honestly can't remember.
Was it up on the hill?
I remember there was train. I was off my head. But I remember there was train tracks there. So he comes out and he's like, "Bro," he's like, "You came with them?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "You just belted the fuck out of me." I was like, "No, I did come with them, but no, I was just here like talking to these guys." And as he's getting towards me, and I was just like, "What the fuck?" Comes up, started like swinging, and I was like ducking and weaving, just getting the shit beat out of me, basically trying to duck and weave. And then at the same time, like the whole party's come up this driveway. Came around us and like then I just copped it, man. It was the biggest beating I've ever had in my life. Not that I've had many, just because I haven't been in many fights. But like to the point was like falling down, getting kicked in the face, in the ribs, at like the definition of a beating.
Yeah.
And I remember like standing up and falling over like a picket fence and all this sort of stuff. And I remember like, and I was like in that survival mode. I was like, I've got to get away. And I started walking along, and I remember like you were standing at this house, like at this gate, and you were like sort of like opened it in it, like as in like becking me to come in, but without, you know, in a subtle way. So these guys didn't see that you were trying to harbour this person that they were like after. And I've like stumbled along and I was like, I've just got to get away. I was like, this is it. This is how I go. And then someone come up and they were like, he's gone this way, he's gone that way. And everyone just fucking ran. I was like, this is my like chance. And I went and I was like, there was like this little tree and I was like, fuck, I just got to get behind here. And was behind this tree, and then not long after the cops come, and they had like the light out the side of the car. I remember seeing you walk back up into this house, and then the cop car come around, and they were shining. I was like, "Fuck, this is my chance." Walked out of there. I was like, "Safety!" Like, thank God. Yeah. And the cop was just like, "Hey, were you just in that fight?" And I was like, "Sort of. I was the punching bag." And I was like, "Oh, I need to go to hospital." And I'm like, "Nah, you find your own way."
Fucking hell.
Yeah. And then walked out in this light, and they saw my face, and I was just like, get in the car. Took me to hospital, and then Brooksy, one of the guys that I was with, he was there, like walked into emergency. He's there. He's got this massive lump on his head, glass and shit hanging out of it. And I remember that was when I first started smoking, and my parents were like, against it and didn't want me smoking and all that sort of stuff. And they come to the hospital. The hospital rang them. They come and picked me up, and I was a fucking an absolute mess. And they're like, "Are you all right? What can we do?" And I was like, "I just want a packet of cigarettes." And I think that was the first time my mum ever bought me cigarettes. But that's my first memory that I had of you. It was me getting fucking pummeled. And that,
bro,
you were.
you just blew me out, man.
Yeah.
Because that was the era of like, yeah, we're the same age.
Yeah.
There's a party in this suburb.
Yeah.
Let's go find that party.
Yeah.
And then 9 times out of 10, it'd end up in something like that. So what, like, did you say I like held the gate open for you?
It was in like a cul-de-sac.
And
everyone, so I was up the top. These guys that I was with like run past me because they got in a fight down at the party. They've run past me. Everyone from the party's come up. Everyone knew that I'd come with these guys. And they saw me and they were just like fucking into it. And it was in this cul-de-sac. And it was, as a fight does, it was sort of like moving around. I was getting up and falling over and getting kicked this way and punched that way and all that sort of stuff. And so like the top side of the houses, I remember it was just like to where it nearly stopped. And I was like, fuck, I'd fallen over this picket fence and it fucking destroyed me ribs. And I got up and like saw you open this gate and we were like, trying to give me those signals in like, come in here, I want to help you, but like in the way so that the other guys didn't see that you're trying to harbour the enemy type of thing.
Man.
It was, and I swear it was the only time. And then these guys run off, and they were just like, he's gone this way, and they caught up with Brooksy at Video City in Newtown, and that's where he got bottled and that sort of stuff. But I mean, I've talked to seen some of those guys since then, and it's like all sweet. But that was my first one
that I remember. I think it was Anthony Gerard's house. I know these are people I haven't seen since then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because fuck, man, bro, this is crazy. Yeah, like, because it was like a cul-de-sac, like a roundabout cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like up on the hill, like Lutana sort of side. Like,
I can't remember, but I just remember it being a cul-de-sac. And I remember some like these white picket fences and stuff. And I remember the drive was like down into this shed for this party. But
yeah.
But they were
I think like me and my mates that came to that party, we ended up, after that all went down, we just went like walking around Glenorchy, Moona, Newtown, and even ended up in Lenna Valley. I think we ended up at the park in Lenna Valley by the time it was like 1 o'clock. We didn't sleep. Yeah. We were just kind of like lurking, you know what I mean?
They were like I wouldn't even do that now. I wouldn't let my kids do that now. But I mean, they were the glory days. Like, people had been in town. We'd be, I suppose, a lot of people would class us as less desirables. Fucking harmless though. No one would steal shit. I mean, there would be people, no one that we'd know, hanging around. The worst thing was I had is smoking. You know, you'd be chain smoking in the mall. You go to a party of a night time and then end up wandering around suburbs and stuff. You fucking do that now, man. You get stabbed to death. Like, you know what I mean?
There was a lot of that going on back then too.
Yeah, not as much. Like, I don't know. Maybe
Glenorchy was pretty rough. There was, by the time I was 18, I knew a few people that had stabbed and killed people at those sort of parties. You know what I mean? It was, like when Anthony Barnett got murdered, there was, it was those same situations, like different gangs of kids going to different spots, either in Glenorchy, down in Kingston, Eastern Shore. The word to get out of this is where the party is. Whoever's poor kids' parents were away, and they were just like, at mine. And then all of a sudden, gangs rock up. And then, a big fight would pop off. One fella gets bashed, and he's like, fuck this, gets a knife, comes back, boom, someone's dead. That did happen quite a lot back then. That's what, I see, like rest in peace to the young fella that got murdered not long ago in Salamanca. And watching everyone on the Facebook, first thing everyone said was like, deport them. And it's like, they're Tasmanian convict white kids. You know what I mean? Like, this is a problem in our society. Don't instantly be like, this must be some Africans. You know what I mean? And then the other thing is they're like, Tassie's becoming like Melbourne. It's like, well, Melbourne was built by Tasmanian convicts that left here. And a lot of that cycle of behaviour ends up just like passing down. And like youth and lack of guidance is a big part of it. But it's just interesting, man, the way yes, people saying, this is not how it used to be. And it's like, well, in my teenage years, it was. There was a lot of stabbings. There was a lot
I think it's out there more. I mean, you look at you were with when Spanian come down. You were with him. That video of like those kids running across cars, like that was fucking like riot type shit. Like,
it kind of was. They got very excited.
Fucking oath they did, man.
I mean, I think it turned negative from what I remember because Spanian and I walked over the hill. And then apparently a cop clotheslined a young fella off his motorbike for not having a helmet. And then that fella's brother just went, and jumped on the cop car, stopped through the window, and then it just kicked off, Like, before that moment, it was a really positive day there. Everyone was having a good time. There's fellas that I knew from Risdon that were there with their kids, and they were just like, this is Christmas. It was actually really positive. And we definitely got probably a bit too excited with. It was an interesting one. Like even at one point, I was just like, I felt with Spain. I was like, fuck everyone. This is what we're doing. It was pack mentality is a dangerous thing. 100%. It really is. But I really do feel, like I was having a good chat with Dundee yesterday. Because when my dad was here from America in the early '90s, all they'd say on the news was, someone got busted for weed, But when Dundee's dad bought the Republic bar...
did he?
Yeah, so it was Dundee's dad that turned the Republic into the Republic. Because before that, it was the Empire. And that was like the classic worst pub in Hobart, and they were running prostitutes out of the upstairs, and then the local bikies were like, nah, fuck that, this is our turf. So they came and shot up the pub. You know, all these things were happening.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't just like, you know, sweet, calm Tasmania.
Yeah.
Like, I really think... Yeah, I think there was probably more hectic shit back then, to be honest, man. Because everyone was out in the streets, you know.
Yeah,
people
true.
were like, oh, you think you're the toughest bloke in Risdon Vale? Well, I'm the toughest bloke in Bridgewater.
Yeah.
So you drive round there, off from out at the front.
Yeah,
They just
yeah.
punch on the front lawn.
Yeah.
Everyone would come watch.
Yeah, but that'd sort of be it. You know what I mean? Then it wouldn't end up in these like fucking long-standing family feuds of like, I don't know.
There definitely is. There definitely is. Like, yeah, from what I know of, like the 80s and you know 90s, it was big stuff. You know, like. Cool. Even the guys that Chopper was writing about, you know, like Rocky Devine, like if from the stuff that I've heard, like there's not many people like that these days. Don't get me wrong, there's dangerous people out there, but it's a lot more behind closed doors. Where back then it was like he was at the pub every Friday night and people were getting thrown through the window. You know, it was just like you want to go. Like it was that sort of old school.
I suppose as well, this is like back in the days without phones, it would be stories. It's like this bloke throws people through windows and the story gets built up, and you'd be skeptical of it. You'd be like, fuck, well, I don't want any of that smoke. You know what I mean? Rather, as now it's videos and all that sort of shit, everyone's careful because they don't want to get busted. So I suppose,
yeah, I think there's more fear now.
Oh yeah,
like
100%.
Yeah, where and there isn't the form to it because I mean we grew up in that. So, like I grew up in an age of where fighting was fighting, and you know, even if you got flogged, you stand up and shake their hand as you're bleeding, and you know, and now kids are moving with a lot more fear. They see all the danger on their phones, which isn't applicable to reality. Like I've travelled Australia in some of the most dangerous communities, from Perth to Brisbane, from Tassie to Darwin. I've never needed a knife. No. You know, and honestly never needed to fight that much either. It's about the energy you roll with.
100%.
You know, but it is very interesting, bro, growing up. The idea of youth as well, because every generation do this. And back in my day, it was different. Is it the same? Who knows? Like, perspective is everything, but it can be hard.
100%.
But man, so blessed that like you shared that story, and I'm so grateful that you have a memory of me, I guess, trying to be of assistance while you were going through a traumatic situation yourself.
100%. It was that, and I'd sort of forgotten it. I'd forgotten about it, and it wasn't until it was like years later or something, I think we're in the mall, and you're like, or it was a little bit after it, and you were like, oh, you know, you're alive. And I was like, yeah, fucking blah, blah. And you were like, dude, I was there. And I was like, fuck yeah, you were too. Like
I've suppressed that quite a bit now. So we talked about it again since then.
Yeah.
Fuck
they're like not long after it happened, many, many years ago. So this would be a lot of so it'd be like over 20 years ago. Sort of thing. So,
100%.
But it's always good when people can bring up.
I'm so grateful to share that, memories. Man, because I like really, especially in my mid-30s, I do so much reflecting. And I went down to the skate park the other day. Where I
saw that, man, at Blackman's Bay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was like not the first place I smoked weed, but it was like definitely a close second.
Yeah, I think it was. It wasn't the first place I smoked. It was the first place I smoked a cigarette. I remember that, and I like cried a bit. I was like, nah, it's good. Like,
I remember that was like, because I'd smoked weed in Lindisfarne with like some boys where I lived, and that was like, we smoked weed and we like were tucked away playing video games and all that. But that was the first place that I ever saw people smoking weed and then going about their general day. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you can take drugs and like exist still in like normal, in society sort of thing. It was a big eye opener. And the first time I ever saw, I saw a bloke bust his wrist like big time, and he was like screaming, and he was like, just chop me up a mix. And it was pretty fucking hectic.
At Black Skate Park. Yeah.
But I looked at that photo that you put up, and I was like, fuck, that place used to be so much bigger.
It had that tree, and there was a rail down the stairs. There's oh man, I was having so many reflections, and and then just thinking about where everyone's at now, and which different paths, and like one guy, Michael Stevenson and Anthony Stevenson, they were two brothers that were really good skaters, and it's so easy to look back on those times and see the negative. You know what I mean? Like, because I can think of a bunch of people that were at that skate park, and like one of them's been charged with pedophilia now. One's like, like just and there's just like, I can think of all the negatives but then like there's guys that were there too for all those times, and they were there when the fights were happening and everyone started doing drugs and all that.
Yeah.
But they ended up just going this way, and now they're just hardworking guys. They're successful. They have families. Everything's quite healthy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I definitely get stuck sometimes looking at just the negatives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like even fuck man, you took me for a walk down memory lane.
Fucking great spider climbing up the wall.
Oh, big huntsman. That is a big huntsman.
There you go. Anyway, so last question I've got for you. Not that I've had many, it's just sort of flowed.
Yeah.
Who's the, I do love me Aussie hip hop and all that. Who is the next one? Not just someone, who's the next big one? Who's like, who do you reckon? You got to pick one. You're going to upset some people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, it's changed, bro. It's changed in so many ways, and the internet's changed everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And the influence has changed, you know?
Yeah.
Who's the one? Like, I mean, there's so many guys that are getting their flowers now.
Yeah.
The scene's divided in so many different little pockets now. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Who's the next? Who's the next commercially viable one? I should say then.
Oh, I don't even know if I could tell you. To be honest, it's like.
Well, that's a good thing to have if we've got that many good.
Yeah. Well, who knows where it's going to go?
Yeah. True.
You know, like there's guys that are getting commercial attention, but they're trash. They can't rap for shit.
Yeah.
And really, it's just become so trend driven.
Yeah.
And really social media driven, and then rage baiting driven. You know what I mean? Like the guy that's young, I won't even say his name because I don't really want to add to his conversation, but he's just doing toxic negative shit and everyone talks about him. And I'm not like, he can't rap.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not practicing hip hop culture. You know what I mean? There is some amazing young hip hop heads out there that are doing it. You know, I'd say the best young rapper from Tassie I've seen in a while is MCB, who coincidentally I went to high school with his parents. And I remember when his parents had him.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah. Apparently I held him when he was a baby in the mall, you know.
No shit.
And he's been told that his whole life. And he's 18 now. You know, and as he said 20 years ago, we were in the mall. You know, so, MCB, he's one from down here. The best young fella I've probably seen in Melbourne is a guy called Chop Money. He was really dope. There's lots of different young people everywhere in different ways. So it's hard to know, bro. It's hard to say because, like,
that's fair.
Lockie Hamill for me is
that's it. What is like? I mean, excuse my ignorance, but I see him on everything. Like anything you put out, Lockie Hamill, and a lot of other guys. What's he actually do? Everything.
Lockie Hamill is like become the Swiss Army knife,
because that's
absolute machine of Australian hip hop. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, so when I met him, he was a kid and he made his own mixtape, and then
so does he rap?
Yeah, he raps, and then he started producing.
Yeah,
and then he got a scholarship to go to the Conservatorium of Music to do as an audio engineer. Yeah, so he went and got his degree. Yeah. I linked him up with my mate Kane Richardson that I met in Risdon, and Kane wanted to turn his life around and be a rapper. Yeah. Lockie produced him an EP and handed it in to the con for his like project. Yeah. It was like Tasmania's most legitimate gangster rap album. Yeah. And Lockie got high like marks on it at the Conservatorium of Music. Yeah.
That's wicked, dude.
And then so he produces, he then built his own studio. Lockie Hamill Music Studio. I did a few video clips for him for free when he was young. Yeah. And then he got a camera and now he does all my videos. Yeah. So he's a producer. He put together the THC album, which is the biggest hip-hop album to ever come out of Tassie. And probably one of the biggest in Australia. It's got over like 50 rappers on it.
So THC, for those that don't know, is it's the Tasmanian Hip-Hop Collective.
Yeah. Yep. So Topsky, who's like the OG grandfather of Tassie hip-hop, he definitely pushed that a lot. Medusa pushed it for a long time. Do you remember Medusa? Yeah. He was such a king of Tassie hip-hop, man. I really looked up to him when I was young. Yeah. And then, when the internet came in and I realised all these kids that were rapping, sitting in different suburbs around, either though they had access to each other, they weren't reaching out. Whereas like our generation, we were like, oh, you're into this?
Yeah.
Let's meet in the park
Yeah.
and do it, you know, where these kids were just like, one's sitting in Glenorchy, one's in Kingston, just putting it on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah.
So I started THC TV as a YouTube platform to try and bring all these kids together and kind of recreate that camaraderie that we all had when we were young, you know.
Yeah.
Like I remember meeting Hank Warren at a party in next to Mitre 10 in North Hobart, and he was beatboxing. I was like, you beatbox, I beatbox. Higgy beatboxers. And there's another guy called Seb, and it's like we were the four guys in the outskirts of Hobart that beatbox, but you'd sniff them out, you know what I mean? And just be like, oh, where now everyone's just like, oh yeah, he does this. I don't know him. You know what I mean?
For sure, man. No, it's a good thing. It's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, and it's still going on. Grace Chia really does a lot for the community now. She's very powerful. She's from Launceston originally, and she's just a world-class artist. She raps and sings.
Yeah.
You know, but all those guys are now in their mid so-and-so 20s, you know.
Yeah.
So who knows what's going to come through next, and I think it's going to split from the trends to the culture. Yeah. Because the internet trends definitely get very distant from that hand-by-hand taught, raised-up culture. It's really the hip-hop heads doing the workshops, bringing people up that stay connected to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man.
Well, happy days. Cheers for coming on, dude. And
thank you, bro.
That's right. Thanks for fitting me in, as I know you're only just down here for a little bit for the holidays.
It's a blessing, bro. Yeah, it's good to come out here. And well done on your journey, man.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, God bless you, bro. And yeah, really happy to hear you're in a sober place in your life. Yeah, all the power to you, man. I remember when I first came across your stuff online, and it blows me out that you're bringing up those memories, because I hadn't connected the dots.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the more that people encourage empowerment, being honest about our journeys, things we went through, because I mean, that's fucking highly traumatic what you went through, you know. And people, we dismissed it. We're like, oh, that's just another Saturday night at a party, you know. But I know that a lot of those situations are the roots that lead to addiction, that lead to different stuff, you know, that we don't realise is actually quite impactful. Yeah. So man, what a blessing of sharing. That was healing for me.
Yeah. No, good, man. I'm glad. Happy days. Well, thank you very much, Big Grills.
Thank you. Appreciate you, bro. What a blowout.
Isn't it? Hang on, put them back on. I'll just get a photo of you.